Welcome in. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for joining us here on our Thursday afternoon on the first day of 2026. It's a pleasure to be here live with you guys. We've got a lot of news to get to, as you might imagine. It's the beginning of the year and a busy one at that. So let's move on. Our Larry Sproul is out showing us a live look where we know the monks are about to begin their journey towards, I believe, Larry, they're going to Athens, Lithonia, some other places next. So why don't you tell us what you're seeing and what's next for the monks?
Yeah, well, good afternoon, Ariel. So right now we are in Snellville. They're getting ready to make their trek to Loganville right now. But let me just step out of the way so you can see this large crowd right behind me. So what's going on right now is that the monks are getting ready to leave this area. They're going to make a left and make their trek to Loganville. But right now the crowd is waiting for that to actually happen. So they're going to have a police escort, and then they're going to make their way right down this sidewalk and then make their way to Loganville. So let me just kind of give you some back pieces as far as what actually this is all about. This is a 2,300-mile peace walk that started back in October from Fort Worth, Texas. They're going to make their way to Washington, D.C. Now, this is all about peace, and so that's what they want to emphasize this entire journey. So they made several stops throughout Metro Atlanta. On Tuesday, they were in Decatur, and I was out there actually in Decatur as well. So what they're doing is that this morning they had their morning ritual, their morning ceremony this morning, and then they had lunch as well. But everybody is excited for this exact moment for the monks to make their final journey, or not their final journey, but their next stops into Loganville. And so I talked to a lot of people, and they tell me that the reason why they came out here today because they wanted to start out the new year just right with the monks, and it's all about peace. Peace is what's needed here to kind of deal with everything that's been going on. So as you can see, just once again, and I'm talking about there's like thousands of people out here waiting for the monks just to come down this area, and what they're going to do is make a left right over here and then head into Loganville. So we will continue just to trek this journey, this historic moment here, not just here in the Metro Atlanta area, but across the country as well. I want to show you as well, they also will have a police escort. If I can have my photographer turn right over there, they'll have a police escort leading them and guiding them along the way. So this is such a historic moment once again, and we will continue to stay out here and just march with them and just trek their journey along the way all throughout the day today. Ariel?
Yeah, Larry, you know, it's interesting because there's so many people. I'd imagine not all of these people are Buddhists, but maybe they could be, right? It seems like a lot of people from different faiths and backgrounds have come because they're curious about this journey. Is that kind of the feeling and sentiment you've kind of gotten from the people you've talked to?
You are exactly right. I spoke with people from all nationalities, from all religions, from Christians to Catholic, and they said they just wanted to come out here. They wanted to come out here and just kind of see what's going on. So I'm going to just ask just a couple of people just to see whether they're willing to talk. Ma'am, excuse me, can we talk to you live? Yeah. Let's talk to you. Can we talk to you live on TV, ma'am? Anybody would like to talk to us? Why did you decide to come out here today?
I decided to come out today because I remember the walks that we've had in the past, so through Selma and all the people who fought and died for peace for us. So I brought this candle to highlight that and to thank the monks for doing this again to bring peace to the world.
I see you have peace on your shirt. What does peace mean to you, and how important is this walk, this march for peace?
It means calmness. It means just thinking of other people with compassion. It means thinking about love and unity, and that's what we need right now. That's why all these people are here, because we really, really need love and compassion and just equity for everyone.
One last question. How long have you been waiting out here?
About 3 hours.
Wow.
Yes.
Just to see this exact moment.
Family, yes, definitely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. So guys, as you heard her, she's been waiting out here for 3 hours just to see this very moment for the monks. And like I said, it's going to happen any minute now. Once again, just to kind of do a recap, they're going to leave Snellville and make a left and head to Loganville. And as you can see, this crowd is very excited, and they're waiting for that exact moment to happen.
Yeah, Larry, I love that you were able to talk to her, ask her questions. I feel like she's kind of echoed what we hear a lot of people saying throughout this. I will let you go in just a little bit and information gather. Should they come out while we're talking, maybe we'll be lucky. That would be cool to get them walking out. But I'm wondering, if you're familiar, could you give us a little bit of an overview? I know there was a monk that was hurt, and yesterday a lot of people were paying tribute and working to come say hello. What's the update with that story? That monk, he seemed like he was doing better.
Yes, he was doing better. As you remember, he was injured in a car accident in one of the early stops, but he made a visit or a presentation yesterday, and so people were able to see him. So we are told that he is doing much better. He's supporting this trek, obviously. Obviously, he can't continue the journey with him, but he is doing a lot better. He's recovering, and he's excited for what's to come. And Ariel, I just want to remind you also that they're making their stop to Washington, D.C. Their goal is to meet that by February 13th. So still a long way to go, but they have made such a long way already for this journey.
Yeah, Larry, you know, they started in Texas, Fort Worth area at the Buddhist temple there, walked all the way here now in Georgia, so just incredible that they've made it so far. I'm looking through our TikTok real quick, Larry, just to see if people have any questions for you. One thing Rhonda commented, she was like, we won't have any pads left at the end of the march, and I think she might be talking about the monks' shoes. And it's funny because I've seen a lot of people talk about how the monks are walking, some of them barefoot, despite the temperatures, they just continue to march.
Yeah, so I've seen several of them that just have socks on. Some are marching barefoot as well. So that just kind of just shows how dedicated they are to this peace walk, that they're really taking this necessary, not consequences, but sacrifices in order to make this happen.
Makes sense. Larry, I'm looking behind. I don't see any activity just yet, but I know they will be coming out soon. Really quickly, too, we have around 180 people watching with us here on TikTok. So clearly people are interested in this story. I am also curious. I know they have a dog, and I think the dog's name is Aloka. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the dog has its own social media, and social media has played a really big role in the monks sharing their journey.
Yeah, he's out here. We saw him earlier today, so he is here. He's going to continue to walk with the monks and share his journey, so you can also follow them on social media as well. He has gained a huge following as long with his monks. One thing that also they said earlier is that they feel like they're rock stars, and that's really not what this is all about. But everywhere that they go, the crowd is really coming out in droves. Like I said, here in Snellville, I'm counting at least 2,000 to 3,000 people out here. It's the same with Indicator earlier, so a lot of people are interested and excited to see this take place.
Yeah, it's really unique. You know, Larry, I think what has surprised me about this whole process is just how quickly people became interested and didn't want to just experiencing it through social media. They wanted to go there live. They wanted to be in person if they could be. So I know the monks are headed, you said Loganville next, and then I know they'll make stops all the way through Athens as they continue their journey ultimately to Washington, D.C.
Yes, that is the plan. Yes, Loganville is next, and then Athens, and then Washington, D.C. by February 13th.
Okay, perfect. Larry, I always appreciate our conversations. Thanks for keeping us updated. I'll keep an eye on your camera. If I see them start to come out, maybe we'll come back to you and just get a live look. But in the meantime, I'll let you go ahead and get some more information and hang tight while you wait for them to come out. So thanks so much, Larry. Okay, guys, we're going to move on here really quickly because we have some other stories to get to, and I know your time is valuable, so let's move on because there are some new state laws that are going to go into effect today. New year means new policies and priorities here in Georgia, and so these new Georgia laws that take effect today are going to usher in changes that affect anything from vehicle regulations, homeowners insurance protections, ethics investigations, and specialty license plates. So let's go through them. When it comes to motor vehicles, one bill going into effect, House Bill 551, updates the rules governing the ownership and operation of motor vehicles. The law actually adds on new requirements for issuing temporary operating permits, and it also sets standards for new electronic systems used to issue these permits. The measure was sponsored by Representative Jason Ridley, a Republican from Chatsworth. When it comes to your homeowners and insurance, another change is coming, and it expands the amount of notice homeowners must receive before an insurance policy is not renewed. It increases the notification period from 30 days to 60 days. And ethics investigations, there's a bill also going into effect that limits when ethics investigations can begin. Under the law, the Georgia State Ethics Commission is banned from starting investigations into candidates within 60 days of an election. But this new legislation also requires local elected officials to do mandatory financial disclosures directly directly with the commission rather than at the local level. So this is another law aimed at transparency and accountability. And finally, specialty license plates. A new specialty license plate feature is available, featuring the American flag and the words America First. Revenue generated from this plate is going to be directed to Georgia's general fund. So if that's something that you want, it will go to Georgia's general fund. And a story that I think affects a lot of people, and we've really been following it closely here at Fox 5, deals with the Atlanta Medical Center and what is next for the site there. So we've got Tyler Fingert here at the desk with me. Tyler, it has been incredible to see the transformation at that site. I do know a lot of people were very nervous at the thought of this center going away. So what's next and where do we stand with the development?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, can you even believe it's been over 3 years now since it shut down? It was it was in operation for over 100 years. It was a very vital part of our community for medical needs for underserved communities. And there was a lot of concern with it shutting down back in 2022 because just of how important it was, and also just the level 1 trauma center that left for a period of time, just one level 1 trauma center in the metro Atlanta area. And obviously that was a concern, which is why people were upset that it was shutting down. You're looking at video on the right side of your screen right now. That is what it looks like today. They started the demolition back in June, and they are almost done to the point where they have 2 buildings left that kind of need to come down, but that's going to be done within about less than 30 days is what we're told. And so today I was able to get an update talking with officials just about what is to come for this site that is going to be vacant. 2026 is going to be the year that they are really working to get this done. The team behind it tells me they want to turn this into a mixed-use development that will replace Atlanta Medical Center to serve Atlanta Medical Center with housing, retail, and public space, along with a health and wellness component. City officials have said that was critical after losing Atlanta Medical Center's level 1 trauma center, which for decades served low-income and underserved communities. It says the plans include a grocery store, which is some good news, and a pharmacy with a goal of creating a live, work, play environment. They say they don't want a food desert in this area. The Integral Group, which is behind the project, says 2026 will be a year of planning with Wellstar and others for what's to come at the AMC site, with some of the first phases of construction likely to begin in 2027. The group says they'll be working with the community throughout the process. The developers say they know the stakes are high because they are replacing a place that meant so much to the city, and they say the location matters, sitting in a neighborhood deeply tied to the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Take a listen to what one of the people behind the project told me.
The goal is to bring back uses that are modern, that are rational, practical, and community-driven. What we're bringing back has to be as great, carry on that legacy, but also respect that history and heritage of what the old Fourth Ward has been to Atlanta and what Atlanta has meant to the world as being a shiny city that, hey, a place we want to be.
Yeah, and the Integral Group says they are very excited for what is to come and what they're going to be able to do with this 22-acre site. I mean, what it was back in June, the structures were all there. They have made quick progress. In the video, you can see there's just a few little buildings left. Those, off to the right and to the left, those are going to come down fairly quickly. They said within 30 days at most. And then further back, you can see 2 office buildings. They're waiting for those to be vacant, but they say pretty much in the next 6 months, those are also going to be raised and knocked down. So not a whole lot of left until they're going to be able to start like the infrastructure work that they need to be able to get the roads in place for the site so that they can start building what they hope to have for this place. And I should mention, Atlanta is known as the city in the forest. They said that they were able to save a number of trees to be able to make sure that they can put it on the site, which obviously is important to a lot of people who care about that designation. And Atlanta is known for having such a great tree canopy. They said it was really important for them to be able to keep trees that were on the site for years and decades to be able to incorporate them in what the future plans are.
Well, Tyler, I'm really excited for when this does come together, and I think that area has so much potential in terms of where we're imagining it to go. At the same time, it's interesting to see this center that so many people truly relied on and where they've been able to make, I guess, adjustments, and to find other places for healthcare. That's something I know that the mayor's office and just the city talked about when this happened, is that they did want to prioritize and make sure that people had adequate resources.
Because healthcare is important. We know that.
Yeah, but this will involve a lot of different apartments and places for people to live, as well as, when you talk development and I guess mixed use, probably like some retail, restaurants, that sort of thing in the area.
Yeah, and even he said grocery store. They want fresh food. They don't want like this area to become a food desert. Not that there was a grocery store to be there to begin with, but they want to be able to bring something in. I mean, just in that area, I know that there are multiple grocery stores. There's one on the Beltline, which is maybe a mile away. There's one just up Piedmont in Midtown. There's obviously ones when you go further south as well. This is a area right next to the interstates, right next to the downtown connector. So they say this is a perfect site to be able to do this. And for the grocery store and the pharmacy angle, they say they already have several options. I guess a lot of retailers are looking to be at this site, and they really want to emphasize that because city officials really have focused on the fact that they want to have a healthcare component there. They're calling it wellness, so I'm not sure exactly what that's going to be. I mean, you could think wellness, obviously, maybe doctor's offices, a clinic of some sort, or different types of places where people can, get some health care if they need it. They haven't said exactly what it's going to be, but they did say it's going to be part of this complex, because they obviously know that community does, like every community, needs access to adequate health care. And obviously losing a hospital like that where you could just walk in there in a case of emergency, you lost that aspect, but they want to be able to put something back in that people can benefit from.
Well, Tyler, thank you so much. This was great to get an update as to where this project is headed and what's going on. You guys, I am looking off to my right, and it looks like the monks are continuing their journey back here to Loganville. So, let's see if we can go back live. We know that our Larry Spruill is out there, his photographer, giving us this live bump, but you can see the monks coming out of the temple there in Snellville, and they're going to begin their journey to Loganville. They actually are going to make another couple of stops in Georgia before they continue on to the United States Capitol. And we know that they plan to visit Athens, Lithuania. One stop that they hope to make involves a look at ultimately the steps of the United States Capitol, and they're hoping to get there by mid-February. So we'll keep you updated on that, but I just want to give you a look as to what we are seeing, because you're watching this live with me right now. We're watching this unfold. Police officers have been police officers have been walking alongside them with their patrol cars and motorcycles. We've been seeing that, accompanying them, making sure that things go smoothly and safely with the monks' journey as they walk. We do know that safety is top of mind, especially considering one of the monks was hurt in an accident while they were doing this walk for peace. But as we look at this too, Elberton, another stop I didn't mention, but it's besides Lithuania and Athens, there's also going to be a stop in Elberton. Exact locations are not always released until a little bit closer, so they could add other stops as we continue to watch this unfold. Each day, the monks do post information about their schedule, including times and addresses for lunch breaks and evening gatherings on their Facebook. So social media has been a really big way that they have connected with people. We actually, on our app Fox Local, if you're streaming with us in the app, you can go look at a map of their entire journey with possible stops in case you want to see them. One thing we've noticed is that a lot of people have been coming out because they really support the Walk for Peace. They may not be Buddhist, but they support the monks' mission and they want to be there and watch it unfold. So we're watching them drive away right now, and as they continue their journey. One other thing I want to let you know is that as as we see where they are headed next, we're going to keep you updated, but if you're just joining the live stream, their visit is set to conclude on February 13th. But you can see the monks beginning to walk again there now. Some of you guys are commenting earlier. Rhonda had commented on TikTok and said, poor things won't have any pads left by the end of the march, probably talking about the monks' shoes. And that's something that we've seen throughout this process. Some of the monks have actually walked barefoot. They do have a dog that follows them, and he's become quite the social media celebrity. The dog's name is Aloka, and he has been really just in front with the monks, front and center, you know, sometimes taking naps, sometimes taking breaks like they might, but you can see him there in the upper left corner of your screen. But Aloka's been pretty popular and somebody that everybody wants to see when they watch the monks continue their journey. So if you guys have any questions about the monks, let me know. We know that the monks are just ultimately walking for peace and trying to share that journey with people all across the United States. And we've seen young, old, doesn't really matter the age, but we've seen all kinds of people from different ethnicities and backgrounds coming out to watch the monks. You can see police officers in marked and unmarked patrol cars following the monks on their journey and making sure that they get there safely. They've been escorting the monks along this leg through Georgia. We've seen that. But next stop for the monks, Loganville, and then we know at some point probably Lithonia and Athens. Some people waving to our Fox 5 cameras there as they run after the monks and follow them along. But one thing I want to also let you know about is that during the walks, the monks do observe strict aesthetic practices rooted in ancient Buddhist tradition. They only eat one meal per day and they sleep outdoors. And organizers of this walk actually say that this discipline underscores the purpose of the walk and the central message of it all, which is that peace is not a destination but a daily practice that begins within each individual. So the monks are trying to make sure that they practice what they preach as they continue this walk. It's something that's been very important to them, ultimately sharing that journey with everybody who has been interested. So if you guys have questions, we will let you know. But in the meantime, the monks are walking on now to Loganville, and they'll ultimately make their way to Washington, D.C. by mid-February. They started their walk a few months ago in around Fort Worth area at a Buddhist temple there. So we'll keep you updated, guys, as this progresses. But in the meantime, we've got your weather forecast coming up with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. Welcome back in, you guys. I am Ariel Onstad here with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. Jonathan, your first weather forecast of the new year for 2 o'clock. How does it feel?
It feels more like the same for 2025, but I think the weather is taking a bit of a turn, and I like the direction we're going in.
Let's talk about it. We got a couple minutes.
With the holidays now behind us, high pressure has come home for the final holiday, or the first holiday, however you want to look at it, but there is snow up across the northern tier. So if you're traveling north, and I don't care where you're traveling north, whether it be the Rockies, the Great Lakes, New England, or just the Northeast in general, you're going to fly into a flake as snow continues to be a big factor of the early winter and now the midwinter across the nation's northern tier. In fact, interestingly enough, just 2 days ago on December 30th in Syracuse, they got 24.2 inches of snowfall in a 24-hour period, making it the second snowiest day on record there. That is Syracuse.
Can we get a little?
New York. Can we get a little?
Can we?
Can you share Syracuse?
Yeah, can you share?
Well, guess what? We do not have something known as Lake Erie or Lake Superior to our east or west. So not going to work for us. Depending on which part of the lake you're adjacent to, you get caught up in this phenomenon called lake effect snow, and clippers keep on parading by, and with those clipper systems moving right over the lakes, it creates a nice effect. Lake effect, I will say this, Ariel, is a early winter phenomenon because the water temperatures of the lakes at this point are still warmer than the actual air temperature most days, especially when it's below freezing and you actually get snow. As we get deeper into the season, namely the month of February going into March, you don't really hear about lake effect snow anymore because the temperature of the water has what is called latent heat, so it takes longer, it holds on to energy much longer, so therefore when it actually gets down to or below freezing, those lakes up there, they're not going to freeze over, but because of caluricity, I don't want to get too scientific on you.
Jonathan's educating us in 2026.
Let's move on. Let's not go to school yet. Kids are still out, so the adults got to be out for one more day. Nonetheless, you will not have the lake effect this still. So we're seeing these outrageous snowfall totals that are impressive. The snowiest start to most winters across most locations across the Tennessee, or excuse me, the Ohio River Valley. So this phenomenon won't last too much longer. That said, here at home, things are very calm and quiet for today. We've already reached a temperature as high as 61 degrees. That's above average. Yesterday, we were like at 52 for our high temperature. So we're now course correcting and temperatures are trending above average as we kick off 2026. So 61 here in town, 61 for Covington. Leading the way is Eaton coming in at 63 degrees, 62 in Rome. If you're not at the 60 mark or have not exceeded it yet, you still have about 2 more hours to get it in. Tonight, we're going to have some clouds moving in. You'll see those clouds first thing in the morning. The morning will still have a little bit of a bite to it with temperatures starting out on either side of 40 degrees. And then the mercury will have its way tomorrow. We'll push that number into the low to mid 60s in terms of high temperatures for Friday, the second day of the year. But the clouds will dominate the sky. And I think from the clouds, especially as we get into the late afternoon, early evening hours, we'll start to get some isolated showers. So high pressure, it moves out, and then that makes way for this system to slide in across the mid-south, and then it gives us some rain. It looks like the lion's share of the rain for those who may be traveling will be decorated across the Tennessee Valley. Look at that area of low pressure. This is more of a classic spring-like setup in which we could get severe weather. So that makes ask the question, will we have severe storms? Well, I won't say there's a 0% chance, but it's less than 10%, if you will. There could be some rumbles of thunder out there. It's something we haven't heard in a little bit of time. So we'll watch the system as it comes dragging across the area. The bulk of the rainfall really during the post-sunset hours of Friday and the pre-dawn period of Saturday. So most of us will be asleep. But if you're going out Saturday night, Friday night, going into Saturday morning, I know many folks still have some family, friends in town. Maybe you didn't do it last night, so you want to get out as we get into the weekend. Keep in mind that there will be some wet weather out there, and once again you can have some lightning. That rain really bolsters up in intensity as it exits the state. Look at it along the East Coast, anywhere from really the Gulf Coast going down near the Big Bend, going all the way up the eastern seaboard of Georgia, and the Carolinas. Some hefty rain and some thunderstorms. That's how we'll kick off the weekend. But here at home, things turn rather calm after we get about maybe a half inch of rain in some cases. So I'm sensing that it's about time to wrap up here, Ariel.
Yeah, you got it, Jonathan.
Hang out, and we'll show you the 7-day coming up at 3 o'clock.
That works for me. I like it is very mild outside right now, so it's kind of nice for New Year's Day if you have the day off. Get out, enjoy it, make the most of it.
And the big question is, will it be a mainstay after the rain comes? And not to go traditional on you, but I'll have that for you at 3 o'clock. So.
That sounds good. That sounds good. We'll look forward to it.
Don't sneak a peek. I want to talk to you about it.
We'll talk to you again, Jonathan. As always, we appreciate you. Okay, guys, really quickly, I'd like to get out to a live look in New York City, where we know that New York's new mayor, Zohran Mamdani, is being sworn in officially. This is his official inauguration ceremony. It's a public ceremony happening there on the steps of New York's City Hall, and it's going to be followed by a block party there in New York City. This is all part of Mamdani's inauguration of a new era, and it's a citywide celebration marking the beginning of his tenure. When we take a look at this, we know we've already heard from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She spoke. She was one of the keynote speakers there at his inaugural address or inauguration ceremony, and now we're seeing other speakers come to the podium. So I'd like us to listen in and watch this live for just a little bit. We don't know when Mamdani's going to speak, but it's imagined he will at some point. It looks like they're doing a musical part of the ceremony, so let's go ahead and listen in for a little bit.
Thank you. Congratulations, Zohran.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, to administer the oath of office for Mayor Zohran Mamdani, welcome Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for inviting me to what has been an extraordinarily moving and beautiful afternoon. And I'm here mostly to thank the people of New York City. At a time in our country's history when we are seeing too much hatred, too much divisiveness, and too much injustice, thank you for electing Zohran Mamdani as your mayor. New York, thank you for inspiring our nation. Thank you for giving us, from coast to coast, the hope and the vision that we can create government that works for all, not just the wealthy and the few. At a moment when people in America, and in fact throughout the world, are losing faith in democracy, over 90,000 of you in this city volunteered for Zohran's campaign. You knocked on doors. You shared your dreams and your hopes for the future of this city. And in the process, you took on the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, the President of the United States, and some enormously wealthy oligarchs. And you defeated them in the biggest political upset in modern American history. You showed the world the most important lesson that can be learned today, and that is that when working people stand together, when we don't let them divide us up, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Running a great and winning campaign was extremely difficult, but governing a city of 8 million people with all of its complexities and all of the problems that Zohran is inheriting will be even harder. Zohran needed your help to win the election. Now he will need your help to govern. Grassroots democracy and people participating in the day-to-day struggles of this city will lead to good governance. Please remain involved. You know, all of us have heard how Zohran's opponents have called the agenda that he campaigned on radical, communistic, and absolutely unachievable. Really? That's not what we believe. In the richest country in the history of the world, making sure that people can live in affordable housing is not radical. It is the right and decent thing to do. And in the midst of a massive housing crisis, it is exactly what the people of this city and this country want and need. Providing free and high-quality child care is not radical. Countries all over the world have done it for years. It is what our kids require if they're going to be well prepared for school and what working parents desperately need. It is, in fact, what every city in America should be doing. Free bus transportation is not radical. It will save workers time and money, protect our environment, and make the city more efficient. And making sure that every family in the city, regardless of income, has access to decent, quality food at an affordable cost is not radical. Good nutrition keeps us healthy, helps prevent chronic illnesses. In the long run, city-sponsored grocery stores will save society money. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. As I was saying, demanding that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes is not radical. It is exactly the right thing to do. Today, while over 60% of our people in New York, people in Vermont, people all over this country are living paycheck to paycheck, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had. While tens of millions struggle to put food on the table, pay for health care, pay for housing, the top 1% have never, ever had it so good. And yet, there are billionaires and large corporations that pay almost nothing in taxes. That has got to end. That will end. The billionaire class in this city and in this country have got to understand that in America, they cannot have it all. That America, our great country, must belong to all of us, not just a few. And that lesson begins today in New York City. Let me thank you all for the hope and inspiration that you are giving people all over this country. And now it is my honor to swear in your new mayor. Please repeat after me. I, Zohran Mamdani.
I, Zohran Mamdani.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of New York.
The Constitution of the State of New York.
And the Charter of the City of New York.
And the Charter of the City of New York.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
Of the office of the Mayor of the City of New York.
Of the office of the Mayor of the City of New York.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God. My fellow New Yorkers, today begins a new era. I stand before you, moved by the privilege of taking this sacred oath, humbled by the faith that you have placed in me, and honored to serve as either your 111th or 112th mayor of New York City. But I do not stand alone. I stand alongside you, the tens of thousands of you gathered here in Lower Manhattan, warmed against the January chill by the resurgent flame of hope. I stand alongside countless more New Yorkers watching from cramped kitchens in Flushing and barbershops in East New York, from cell phones propped against the dashboards of parked taxicabs at LaGuardia, from hospitals in Mott Haven and libraries in El Barrio that have too long known only neglect. I stand alongside construction workers in steel-toed boots and halal cart vendors whose knees ache from working all day. I stand alongside neighbors who carry a plate of food to the elderly couple down the hall, those in a rush who still lift strangers' strollers up subway stairs, and every person who makes the choice day after day, even when it feels impossible, to call our city home. I stand alongside over 1 million New Yorkers who voted for this day nearly 2 months ago. And I stand just as resolutely alongside those who did not. I know there are some who view this administration with distrust or disdain, or who see politics as permanently broken. And while only action can change minds, I promise you this: if you are a New Yorker, I am your mayor. Regardless of whether we agree, I will protect you, celebrate with you, mourn alongside you, and never, not for a second, hide from you. I thank the labor and movement leaders here today, the activists and the elected officials who will return to fighting for New Yorkers the second this ceremony concludes, and the performers who have gifted us with their talent. Thank you to Governor Hochul. Thank you as well to Mayor Adams. Dorothy's son, a son of Brownsville who rose from washing dishes to the highest position in our city, for being here as well. He and I have had our share of disagreements, but I will always be touched that he chose me as the mayoral candidate that he would most want to be trapped with on an elevator.
You're listening to New York's new mayor, Zohran Mamdani, give his acceptance speech there on the steps of New York City Hall as he just took the official oath of office. Senator Bernie Sanders swearing him in, and he's thanking people who helped get him to the position he now holds in America's most populous city, New York City. We're going to continue to keep you updated on Zohran Mamdani as he starts his term, the policies that he wants to enact, and where we go from here, right here on Fox Local as we continue. But we've got some other news to get to here in our 2 o'clock hour. So coming up, we're going to go out live with our Eli Jordan, our Chris Rosenthal, as we take a look at what people are doing into the new year. That's coming up. Welcome back in. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thanks so much for being live with me here on our Thursday afternoon, the first day of the new year. It is a pleasure to have you here live with me. Maybe you guys have some new goals in the new year, like seeing more of nature, going on a hike. Chris Rosenthal is out live at Panola Mountain State Park. And Chris, I understand a lot of people really want to connect with nature in 2026, and the first day of the new year is a great time to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And state parks across Georgia have been having this sort of first day hike where they've people have been able to come out and get guided hike with local rangers and get a tour, get out in nature, get some exercise. Maybe get some of those exercise resolutions started with a nice hike. And I'm here at Panola Mountain State Park today, where they've had 2 of those hikes. I joined the morning hike earlier today, and yeah, people were here at 9 a.m. And now I'm on the afternoon hike with Veronica here. She is one of the rangers here. Veronica, tell me, first of all, this location, Panola Mountain State Park, what makes this so special here?
Yeah, so Panola Mountain is a national natural landmark. That's a designation that we got because we are the best example of a monadnock ecosystem in the southeast. And what a monadnock is that is essentially a large, rocky, isolated hill or like isolated mountain. And we have on here lots of delicate plants, lots of very delicate lichens, lots of very delicate mosses, and a couple of succulent plants. One that grows here is actually incredibly rare. And so we limit access to the mountain by doing these guided hikes in order to continue to protect these plants because they can actually die if we accidentally step on them.
Yeah, and so, you're having this hike today, but people can also come out. You do hikes all throughout the year. People can come out and join. So
yeah, we usually do a couple a month, typically on Saturdays, and typically from 9 until 12.
Gotcha. And it's it's just $10, right?
$10 a person.
$10 and 10 years of age and up, huh?
Yeah, usually we recommend at least 10 years old, but as long as you're an avid hiker. You can be a little younger than that.
Yeah, and it looks a little steep here. I mean, it's been really cool. I've been out with them today. I mean, we've been through old cotton farms. We've seen moonshine stills. I mean, the views on top of the mountain are pretty amazing. We got a little bit of a tree line here, but how hard is this if somebody's worried about how challenging this could be?
So we rate this hike as being moderately strenuous just because there is a little bit of elevation change, very rocky terrain, especially once we get to the mountain, and a little bit of steepness. I would say the mountain itself is not nearly as steep as Stone Mountain, but it is definitely a little bit more than, say, Arabia Mountain.
Just bring some good shoes and some water, and should be in good shape.
Good hiking shoes and plenty of water.
The rest of the group got ahead of us here. I think it was about 25 people or so, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're going to follow and try and catch back up with them. This is, like I said, this is the second hike of the day. But if you've missed these hikes, you can always go on their website, find the next one that's available here at Panola Mountain State Park or and any of the other state parks here in Georgia.
Like it, Chris. I really like it. I'm thinking about how I'm going to get off this stream desk here and maybe come out and connect with nature myself here in the break, because this just sounds like a wonderful way to begin the new year with peace. So thanks so much for giving us this look. We're going to check back in with you at 3 o'clock. But in the meantime, speaking of the new year, besides connecting with nature, maybe you have other goals and resolutions to begin with. Maybe some of those involve not drinking, maybe working out more, maybe getting better sleep. Our Eli Jordan is out giving us an example of some resolutions from people that he's been speaking with. So Eli, what's going on? What are people telling you they want to do in this new year?
Hey, Happy New Year, Ariel, and it's a new year and a new me and a new you and a new everybody. Yes, when the new year comes along, we all make a bunch of promises to ourselves and maybe to a couple of other people. Hey, I'm going to do this, do that, but they always seem to end up with failure. But one thing, though, that has caught on is a dry January, or what some people call Dranuary, which is not having a drink for the entire month of January, which I've seen some people do before, and it seems kind of difficult because there's so much football involved going on. But with me here is someone that has done the dry January before and also has set themselves up with failure with some ridiculous New Year's resolutions. And I'm going to Jason Lindsay right now. Jason, pardon me, I just hit a button there, and Do that. There we go. Jason, how you doing? Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Tell me, are you doing dry January this year?
I am going to attempt dry January again this year. But like you said, with the college football games on, NFL playoffs, it does make it quite hard if you want to go out and watch a game in a pub.
So I noticed that you already have a drink in your hand.
Yes.
But so I guess you're doing a dampuary?
I figured dry January doesn't start until the 2nd because it is a holiday today, so we kind of excuse that for today.
But this isn't the first time you've done this or tried to attempt this. I mean, you've done this 4 or 5 years in a row, right?
I have. Yeah.
And tell me some of the benefits that you feel when you do this.
I mean, you definitely feel healthier. You sleep better. You have a lot more free time. So it's good for the body. But then again, you do miss kind of the social aspect of going out and having drinks with friends. So that's the downside of it.
So have you ever made any crazy, besides the dry January, any other kind of crazy resolutions you ended up regretting?
I did have a resolution once. I was going to train for a 10K. That lasted about a week because I realized running is not fun. So I gave up on that one pretty quickly. But like any other resolution, it's always, try to be healthier this year. Try to prioritize the important things in life, work less, have more fun. Those are things, try to set smaller goals for myself this year so they're accomplishable.
So do you have a resolution for this year?
I don't have a huge resolution. There's no major changes I see coming, but it's just to be more active in life, stay healthy, spend more time with the family, just be a better person this year, I hope.
Right, and you're saying you're not doing the full dry January, but you're doing a dampuary. Tell me, what does that consist of?
So a dampuary means, no happy hours during the week. I won't go out during that. But if there is a big football game on, like the national championship or a big playoff game, then yes, I'm going to go and I'm going to have a pint or so. But I think the difference is when I go out for dampuary is that instead of sitting at the bar all day, I might have 1 or 2 drinks. So it's not as a long haul of the day.
Gotcha. Being a Tennessee fan, though, you don't have to worry about national championships. No. Jason Lindsay, thank you so much. Local Little 5 Point resident here at Elmere, home of the famous Grizz. But people are out here a little bit, getting their holiday spirits going on, and then trying to figure out if they can keep those promises they made to themselves, and or whether they need to go ahead and immediately break those resolutions. But everybody wants to have a new me and new you and all that for the new year. So back to you, Ariel.
Eli, I think you need to have a resolution to find a better football team or a different football team in 2026.
Nah, it's not happening. I think I'm going to be less cynical, maybe.
Okay.
I don't think I could do that, though. There's no way in the world I could be less cynical. No. What about you? Do you have a resolution?
Eli, I think I'm with the gentleman you were speaking to, because I think I'm also going to do a dampuary. Just drink less, focus on that. I think I have a lot of goals that everyone else does, but I'm proud to say I try to maintain them throughout the year. And I feel like if you make little 1% progress every single day, you don't have to worry about a big push. It's just consistent habits that make a difference, focusing on your lifestyle as opposed to just doing things out of the blue. So I want to keep growing, and I hope 2026 has that for you, Eli, too. So Eli,
we always have room for growth.
Amen. And Eli, coming up, I'm going to ask you about your resolutions at 3. It is time for us to move on, but I am excited to hear what you've got in store for us. And maybe don't give the Tennessee fans too hard of a time this year. I'll see you, Eli. Thanks so much. And thank you guys so much for streaming with us. We have more news and weather for you coming up at 3 o'clock. We're going to check in and see where the monks are headed as they continue their journey from Snellville, ultimately towards Washington, D.C. We've got a lot of other stories going on as we take a look here locally at some things that Angelique Proctor and Kevin Stewart are looking at. So we've got that for you coming up. Welcome back in, you guys. I am Ariel Onstad. It is great to have you here streaming live with us on the first day of 2026. We've got a lot of things going on today. I'd love to hear your comments on TikTok, YouTube. If you're streaming here with us on Fox Local or listening on the radio, it is great to have you as a listener, so thanks so much for being here. We're going to start off with a story that I think a lot of you have been talking about online, and it involves those Buddhist monks that are continuing their journey through Georgia. We know they just left Snellville and are moving forward in their quest for Washington, D.C. So our Larry Squirrel has actually been out following their journey live. Larry, I didn't expect to get to see you again at 3, so this is a real treat. Tell me what's happening, and for those who are just joining, where are the monks and what's going on there now?
So, Ari, I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why you're seeing us because we could not get out of the parking lot because there are so many people following the monks. Now, around 2 o'clock, 2:15, they left this area and went down this street right here. But as you can see, traffic is at a standstill, at a gridlock. So many people are trying to follow them. And so we literally could not leave and get out of this to make our live shot for 3 o'clock. So just take a look at this road. All of this traffic is for the monks, and they want to follow their journey. So to give you some backstory, they left Fort Worth, Texas in October and heading to Washington, D.C. But they have been stopping multiple times throughout the metro Atlanta area. On Tuesday, they were in Decatur. I was following them in Decatur, and this is all a part of a 2,300-mile journey to Washington, D.C. just to walk for peace. Earlier today, they met here in Snellville for a morning ceremony. They had lunch here, and then now they left and making their journey to Loganville. We have been trying literally since 2 o'clock to make our way, to follow them, to make our way out of this in our live truck, but we could not because, as you can see, it is 3 o'clock. An hour later, the traffic is still backed up. So, Ariel, we're going to do our best to somehow get out of here and then make our way in front of them for 4 o'clock so we can actually show you the monks, but we just could not get out in time. So that is the truth. I just want to be transparent to our viewers.
No, Larry, I love it. This is remarkable. I mean, the results, I see all the cars behind you, people moving and trying to get out. I think it's just astonishing how many people have been captivated by this journey. And I do think the coinciding, if you will, of a journey for peace at the same time that we reach a new year probably has something to do with it. A lot of people are trying to practice peace in their daily lives, find happiness as they move forward into a new year. And so the monks and their journey, I think it's giving a lot of people inspiration because, as you and I were talking about at 2 o'clock, a lot of people who are out there following them, they're not Buddhists, but they are interested in this journey.
Right. I talked to a lot of people, Christian, Catholics, that were out here this morning. Even on Tuesday, they said they didn't know a lot about the monks, but they wanted to follow them. They wanted to see them because of what they are promoting, which is peace. A lot of people are saying we need peace, especially in just how things are going in the world today. So they wanted to see them, they wanted to meet them, and they wanted to stand for what they are marching for, which is peace, as we mentioned earlier, Ariel.
Larry, thanks so much for joining me live. I know you got to get out of that parking lot, so I won't hold you up. I'll let you go on and try to get back in front of the monks. I know they're headed to Loganville next, ultimately trying to get to Washington, D.C., walking to the Capitol by mid-February. So, Larry, thanks so much as always for our conversation. I appreciate you, and I'll let you try to get out of there.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to move on here because we've got a lot of other news to get to. And this story, we talk about fireworks safety and things that can happen after the new year, 4th of July, holidays where people are firing fireworks. And right now we're learning more about a house fire that may have actually been caused by spent fireworks that were still ignited. Our Angelique Proctor joins us live to tell us more about this. Angelique, I understand this has happened in Marietta. Tell me what you know about this house fire.
Well, first of all, let me begin by saying Happy New Year to you, Ariel, and to all of our viewers out there that are watching us on the stream. We certainly appreciate it. And of course, most of us were probably celebrating the new year in some sort of way last night. There were hundreds of celebrations, and during those celebrations, there are thousands of fireworks that are set, and that is exactly what happened at this home, which is actually, I think, technically unincorporated Marietta. We are in Cobb County, but that celebration ultimately led to a house fire. Let's go now to Silver Leaf Drive, which is actually off of Hurt Road near Austell Road. Cobb firefighters say it was a neighbor who actually saved the day and prevented a real tragedy here when that neighbor dialed 911 about 5 o'clock this morning. Firefighters believe the homeowners were sleeping at the time. A fire lieutenant explained what happened next.
About 5 o'clock this morning, our units responded to a reported house fire that was called in by a neighbor. When we arrived, we did see fire. There was fire on the exterior of the house, and it had started spreading up the roof line a little bit, working toward the chimney. Our crews immediately extinguished the fire from the exterior, went inside to make sure that everyone was out and to check for extension inside the house. There were a few hot spots that they knocked out. There were no reported injuries from civilians or firefighters that I'm aware of. Whenever our units were speaking with the homeowner stated that they had been lighting off fireworks the night before for of course, the celebration for the new year. And they had bagged up or thrown all the fireworks away in a garbage can, and that garbage can appears to be what caught on fire and started the fire on the exterior of the building.
Now, we were actually in the neighborhood when Cobb firefighters returned to the scene. They wanted to make sure that the fire was completely out. The lieutenant says New Year's Eve celebrations should always include one thing that a whole lot of people don't do when setting off fireworks. Take a listen.
Fireworks are generally made out of cardboard tubes that have gunpowder inside of them. Cardboard is flammable. Gunpowder obviously is flammable and explosive, and the cardboard can retain residue from the gunpowder, and it can actually smolder for a long time. That's why the NFPA recommends that if you discharge fireworks, before you discard them, you throw them in a bucket of water and let them soak for at least 24 hours before you throw them in a garbage can. And you don't want to store a garbage can that has discarded fireworks next to your house, or any building. If you have a garbage can that's next to your house and it catches on fire, well, obviously that's right next to your house and it can spread.
So the advice here is to put all of your fireworks in water once you are finished with them. And a lot of people actually don't do that. I was talking with my photographer. He says he's been setting off fireworks for years, never put them in water, but that is the advice from firefighters to prevent something like this from happening. The good news here, though, is that no one was hurt. The family was able to get out safely. No firefighters hurt as well. And we tried to speak with the homeowner about all of this, but while we were there for several hours today, there was no one home. Ariel?
Angelique, good to know. You know, I think it's wonderful advice to follow. Like you said, just putting it in water afterwards. I think a lot of us kind of wait for the firework to fizzle out. We think that that's good enough, but putting it in water is that surefire way to understand, okay, this is not going to set anything else on fire. So great advice. So glad no one was hurt and no firefighters hurt as well. So Angelique, thanks for bringing this story to our attention, and Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year. All right, Angelique.
Happy New Year.
Back. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we're going to move on because we've got a lot of other stories to get to. This involves an update to something that I talked about with our Kevin Stewart here just a little bit ago. A few weeks back, you may remember we told you about a story in Clayton County dealing with a squatter. A family's been trying to get that squatter out of their house, and state lawmakers now, they're working with them to try to figure out legislation to close some loopholes. Kevin Stewart joins us live for the update. And Kevin, you know, I can only imagine how frustrating this is for that family that's trying to get this person out of their home.
Yeah, incredibly frustrating. As you recall, Ariel, I mean, we talked about it here on the stream. That was way back in late August, just before Labor Day, and that story really caught a lot of people's attention. A lot of people can relate to this. You know, they were trying to get this woman, Camilla Ann Johnson, out of their home. They've owned this home for 10 years, and it was supposed to be extra income, and it wasn't supposed to be a burden, but she had been in this home not paying rent since July, and they were trying to get her out, but they kept running into all kinds of problems. I want to kind of give you another look at some of the video here. She got evicted finally by Clayton County deputies just before Christmas on December 22nd after a long battle. And really what the big problem here is that Johnson had filed a number of appeals to keep from getting kicked out, even going to the federal court system, which of course has nothing to do with a local eviction. And this was kind of a strategy. What the family believes is basically kind of running out the clock to allow her to file appeals and stay in their home, and they were never getting paid any rent. And so they really want to work with state lawmakers to try to close these loopholes. I want you to take a listen to them.
Essentially speaking, when you get an eviction, you have 7 days to appeal it, and you're supposed to appeal it to the state court. And what Camilla Johnson did, as it was explained to us by attorneys, is that she decided to try to get this case taken out and taken over by the federal courts. And what that did was allow her to circumvent having to pay an appeals bond, which is pay back rent into the court. And then also, it's my understanding, according to attorneys and such, that when you apply to the federal courts, they have to accept that appeal or whatever you want to call it, even if it has no merit. So they have to accept it. They have to go through the briefing stage. They have to provide extensions if you ask for extensions. And so it goes on and on and on.
And I hate to say this, but, you know, a situation like this really takes away your ability to empathize with people. You know, we went into this because we had a home that, you know, we could rent out and try to cover our mortgage expenses while it was here, and be able to charge a lot less than the market rent in the area, a lot less. So we were like, okay, well, if we're gonna do this, I mean, it might as well help somebody. So, you know, by charging, you know, way below the market value of the rent. Now we're like, what was the point of doing that?
Yeah, definitely disappointing for them. Their rent here was $1,300, and they've spent the last couple of weeks trying to clean up. There were some items that were left behind. The tenant got a U-Haul truck and was able to take away some things, but left some other things here, like headboards, and they got to figure out a way how to get rid of that stuff. One of the interesting things that they found when they got into the house, they said was a smell of what they believe to be allegedly drugs, and more concrete, were two 85-inch TVs. And they felt, you would imagine, if you're not getting rent from someone, but you see two 85-inch TVs in the home, in your home that you're renting out, obviously you're going to feel some kind of way.
Yeah, Kevin, I think that I would. So my heart definitely goes out to the Phillips, because they are trying to have this secondary source of income, hardworking family like so many Americans. And now that they're kind of turning this into a situation where they say, let our experience help others, I mean, I give them all the kudos, because I see stories like this on TikTok and other social media platforms where people talk about their experiences with squatters, and just every state has different rules. But here in Georgia, it'll be interesting to see what they can achieve as they try to fix the situation.
Yeah, it's a story that we're going to continue to follow. They have spoken to a couple of lawmakers, and they did get a response recently, and so they're definitely going to. They're not going to give up, because they said this is bigger than them. You know, so they believe they've posted stuff on Facebook and got a lot of response, and a lot of people can relate to this. You know, they lived here, moved to the city to what they thought was going to be a better situation for them, and they would rent out the house, use it as extra income, and eventually pass it down to their son, so he can get a leg up. But like I said, it ended up being a huge burden, and you heard, you know, it changed their heart a bit, you know, which is probably, you know, you could argue it's probably the worst thing about it, is that, you know, you're trying to help folks because they could get more than $1,300 rent for this place, and they got abused.
Yeah, you know, Kevin, you hit the nail on the head. Ultimately, I'm glad they were able to get that person out, and hopefully they can begin to look at next steps as they figure out what's next for the property and they continue this journey. So, Kevin, thanks so much for joining us in the conversation, and Happy New Year, Kevin. I appreciate you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, all right, we're going to move on here, guys, because I have some national stories I want to get to with you, and one of the big ones involves the One Big Beautiful Bill and the changes we're going to see from that big piece of legislature and how it's going to affect you here in the new year. President Trump signed that bill over the summer, and it has many provisions that are going to go into effect this year. One of the things to keep in mind is that Republicans are forecasting big refunds for many this tax season, especially for specific groups. Anybody who does regular overtime, anybody who has tips as part of their income, and seniors are going to notice a benefit. For those age 65 and older, the bill allows tax filers to claim an additional $6,000 on top of their standard deduction. For employees working on industries that customarily tip, tax filers can deduct up to $25,000 in qualified tips. The Congressional Budget Office projects this bill is going to add $3.3 trillion to the deficit over the next decade. But the White House counters the bill's actually going to reduce deficits by $11 trillion through economic growth, tariffs, and spending cuts. As for how much money you could save come tax day, that's going to remain to be seen. The White House says some tax filers could expect an extra $1,000 bump to their tax refund this season. So when we start filing our taxes, we're going to be talking about this subject a lot. Let us know what you're seeing. Another story I want to let you know about, absolutely crazy and very heartbreaking. A massive fire tore through a bar in the Swiss Alps. So this is incredible just because of how many people were hurt by this. Dozens of New Year's revelers are feared dead right now because of this massive fire that spread through a bar there in the Swiss Alps. It was a very chaotic blaze at the La Constellation venue. This alpine ski resort is in Switzerland, and the fire started around 1:30 this morning, so just into the wee hours of the new year. And it was a New Year's celebration. 100 people were hurt, many of them hurt seriously. When we take a look at how this got started, two women told a French broadcaster that they were inside when they saw a male bartender carrying a female bartender on his shoulders. The female bartender was holding a lit candle in a bottle that set fire to the wooden ceiling. The flames quickly spread and collapsed the ceiling, and that's again according to two women who spoke to a French broadcaster. So it sounds like there was a lot of partying and revelry for the new year, and maybe things got out of control, but helicopters and ambulances rushed to the scene to try to help the victims. There were multiple people from several different countries, as you might imagine there. It's a big tourist destination, so we're going to continue to keep you updated as we find any new information on the toll of those injured and those who may be feared dead. So we're going to keep you updated on that. Here closer to home, the president is actually pulling the National Guard from 3 major cities. So this is a big update because the president says he's going to plan to pull the National Guard from parts of Portland, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The president made this announcement on Truth Social on New Year's Eve, and he said this is a new decision from his administration. He says that federal forces are going to come back if crime rates go up, but this also is fortuitous timing in the sense that the president did make this decision before an appellate court ruled on whether it was constitutional to have those troops in these American cities. So now we also do know the Trump administration must return hundreds of California National Guard troops to Governor Gavin Newsom's control, and the National Guard is still deployed in Washington, D.C., New Orleans, and Memphis. But we'll keep you updated as this continues. Another story here nationally as we follow what is going on in the Trump administration and decisions that are being made there. We know that the United States continues to strike drug boats or alleged drug boats that they believe are a part of a narco trafficking ring. We know that these 5 alleged drug smuggling boats that the administration targeted is involved in this footage you're seeing. The U.S. Southern Command actually released this video today showing it shows strikes against 3 of the narco trafficking vessels. At least 8 people were killed. Officials say the attacks happened over a 2-day period this week. They did not specify a location, but the Southern Command says some people jumped overboard, and the U.S. Coast Guard was immediately notified to activate search and rescue efforts. There's no word on whether or not anyone was recovered from the water, but we're going to continue continue to keep you updated because this is another story to watch as we progress into 2026, where we go from here as the United States continues to put pressure on Venezuela and what they believe are drug boats there in the Caribbean and the Pacific Ocean. So we'll keep you updated. Another thing real quickly, we have a little bit of time before we're going to ultimately come up on your weather forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. But the White House is teasing another potential breakthrough in potential peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. I feel like I tell you guys this a lot where I say we're close with peace because that is what we hear from officials. But really, we have been hearing this message over and over. It's not quite clear whether or not we are going to get peace between Ukraine and Russia. The White House does say there could be a potential breakthrough on the way to end the war in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky actually says a lot of progress has been made in the talks. The war has been going on for 4 years, but there are still thorny issues to be worked out. And really, you guys, the thorny issues deal with land, specifically the eastern Donbas region that both Russia has been occupying and Ukraine wants to keep for itself, because this has been an area of eastern Ukraine that has been ruled by the Ukrainian people. Zelensky noted a referendum is going to be needed on any peace plan involving Ukrainian troops to pull back from that region. He has said that if there is a compromise, and this is then a free economic zone that's neither governed by Ukraine nor Russia, what's going to need to happen is that Russia would have to mirror Ukraine in taking steps back from the region. There would need to be an international peacekeeping force about who's going to govern that region. But Russia, of course, wants to maintain full control of the Donbas. It's not likely that Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, is going to give this up. Zelensky has said he doubts whether Russian President Vladimir Putin actually wants peace and whether he wants peace for Ukraine. He says he does not trust that Putin has Ukrainian interests at heart. But regardless, the talks between Russia and Ukraine are continuing, with U.S. team including Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. President Trump looks to achieve peace in the Ukraine here in the new year. And he's also, of course, continuing efforts with peace in the Middle East, taking a look at Iran, warning it not to ramp up its ballistic missile program. So that's something we're going to keep you updated on, some international stories to watch here in the new year. Coming up, you guys, we are going to get a check of your weather forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. You can see his shoulder here right now. He's getting ready to come on in just a little bit. So we're going to talk about your weather coming up. Welcome back in, you guys. I'm Ariel Onstad here with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. Jonathan, welcome.
Nice to be here. Welcome to 2026.
Welcome to 2026, you guys. We're glad to be here with you. And if you stepped outside today, Jonathan's really done wonders with the forecast. It's quite lovely out, Jonathan.
Well, I just came back from vacation, so I'll let someone else take this. But I'll take the reins from here, because you're going to love what the first week of the year has to yield in terms of the weather. We do have some wet weather coming. It does not come today. In fact, there is snowy weather across the northern tier. If it sounds like a broken record, it's been the snowiest start of winter across many locations around the Great Lakes and the Ohio River Valley, but none of those flakes are flying as far south as North Georgia because it's just so warm. In fact, today's high temperature so far is 62 degrees. The average high for this time of the year, the first day of the year, is 54. So we are already running 8 degrees above average. What a way to kick off a new year. That trend will continue. You can see 60s are decorated on the board, north to south, east to west, with the exception of Blairsville, Canton, Gainesville, and Dalton, all tapping in the mid to high 50s. Overnight, we'll drop down into the 30s, high 30s. I think most will stay away from freezing, with the exception of a few ridge tops up there in the mountains. But by and large, it will be a fairly mild night as we say good night and good morning to Friday. Clouds will wake us up tomorrow morning. Those clouds should not yield rain until the second half of the day. Despite the clouds moving in, we're going to have a pretty fierce flow out of the south and the east, and that's going to push temperatures back into the 60s. We'll be on sprinkle watch for the first half of the day. We'll look for isolated to widely scattered showers by the afternoon. Overnight, that's when the showers may turn to thunderstorms. A few rumbles of thunder can't be ruled out, and heavy downpours. Those will sweep through in the darkness of night. There will still be some leftover moisture first thing Saturday, but as the day grows on, the clouds will go on and they will take the rain with them. And the second half of Saturday will experience a marked improvement. It won't be a totally regime change in the weather, but I think that regime change that you likely want will come on Sunday. So let's not throw the weekend out, but first we're going to squeeze from those clouds about a half-inch of rain at the greatest, especially to the north of the city. Here in town, maybe a little bit more than a tenth of an inch, maybe closer to a quarter, or maybe a little bit more than that in certain isolated areas. So, but there are a couple of bumps in the road as we get the year started. So, and they start tomorrow in the way of showers breaking out of an isolated scattered variety for the first part of the day. I think it will be dry, but it's the second half that will feature some wet weather. Overnight, we'll keep that going, turning up the intensity. This model is really saying, okay, we got a chance for a couple of thunderstorms to break out, but I think that will be the case for our county line or state line areas. But temperatures, they don't fall apart even after that front moves out of here. So look at this. Temperatures running near 70 degrees by the middle of next week.
Really just wild to me, at least, how warm of a winter we're having thus far. I know January may have some things up its sleeve, as it usually does.
There have been some moments, though. We were like 20 degrees just a week and a half ago.
You're right. You're right. Jonathan's like, Ariel, I don't want to hear it. It is. Bring the warmth.
Is the trauma not?
The trauma not enough. You guys, if you're streaming with us here on TikTok.
Like you lived in Ohio.
Yeah.
You're acting like you lived in Ohio, not Louisiana, Mississippi.
This is true. You know, I do love seasons, though, but I'm not going to argue with 60 degrees in December.
I love one season.
I like it. Okay. Really quickly, some people are streaming with us here on TikTok. If you have questions, comments about anything we're covering, let us know. Jan from Georgia says she's always watched Fox 5 Atlanta. So, Jan, thanks so much. And then Kylie is asking, why do they all hold their hands like that? And Kylie, I think you might be asking about the news prayer hands that tend to happen. If you're talking to us about how we hold our hands, it's just habit. We don't really know. We just kind of do it. If you were talking about someone else's hands, though, let me know. But it is habit at this point. So thank you guys.
I try to hold a center line of symmetry.
Yeah, you do a good job with that.
What is it? Your midline?
Yeah, you did that well. Nice job. Well, Jonathan, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Okay,
we're
guys.
Like opposites.
Yeah, we are today. We are. But you know, we're ringing in New Year's Day in our own significant way.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Jonathan, appreciate you. Okay, you guys, we have some news to get to, and I want to make sure that I cover this. So let's go out live. We have just gotten live images from Switzerland. You remember, if you've been streaming with us here for the last little bit, we were talking about a deadly bar fire in the Swiss Alps at a bar there over the New Year's Eve holiday. Now we have live photos of a memorial that is going up outside of that bar. I have updated numbers, and tragically, we know about 40 people were killed in this bar fire, and another 115 people hurt, many of them seriously, after a fire ripped through this bar at a New Year's Eve celebration. The bar was inside a Swiss Alpine resort, and this happened less than 2 hours just after midnight. Absolutely heartbreaking. People going there to celebrate the new beginning of 2026, and some of them did not make it home safely. So we're going to continue to keep you updated. You can see a officer standing there by the police tape. The investigation is ongoing as to how this fire started, but ultimately we heard, or rather read, about 2 women who spoke with a French broadcaster who said the fire started with sparklers and a champagne bottle. So festivities that got maybe out of control. A lot of buildings there in the Swiss Alps are older, and it sounds like the wood inside that building caught fire quickly when the fire made contact with it. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this story as it develops. In the meantime, though, I do want to continue to keep you updated on some stories here closer to home, because there are a few new laws that are going to go into effect at the state level, and they start today, and they affect anything from the motor vehicle that you drive, your car, your homeowners and insurance, and specialty license plates, as well as ethics investigations here for the state of Georgia. So when it comes to your motor vehicles, there's a new law that's going to add new requirements for issuing temporary operating permits, and it also sets standards for a new electronic system used to issue those permits. We'll keep you updated on those effects to you. You can find in the Fox Local app a breakdown of a lot of these new laws going into effect, but another one deals with your homeowner's insurance. The law expands the amount of notice homeowners must receive before an insurance policy is not renewed, and this increases the notification period from 30 days to 60 days. When it comes to ethics investigations, there is a new law that's going to limit when ethics investigations can start. Under the law, the Georgia State Ethics Commission is banned from starting investigations into candidates within 60 days of an election. And the legislation also requires elected officials to file mandatory financial disclosures directly with the commission rather than at the local level. So this is another law aimed at transparency and accountability. And finally, when it comes to your specialty license plates, you can actually buy a new specialty license plate here in the state of Georgia, featuring an American flag and the words America First. Revenue generated from this license plate is actually going to go to Georgia's general fund. So something to keep you updated on there. As we continue here, I want to quickly get you updated. I think we have time for a couple more local stories that I want to let you know about that happened today. One of them deals with a burn victim here locally who was rushed to the hospital after their injuries in a house fire. This happened in the Thomasville Heights neighborhood on New Year's Eve, and it happened around 6:45 p.m. in the 600 block of Thomasville Boulevard. According to Atlanta Fire and Rescue, crews were on the scene within minutes, and they found a person who appeared to have been burned. That person was rushed to the hospital, and firefighters actually worked through the evening to control the significant damage you now see. They worked through the evening to try to bring that fire under control and the subsequent hot spots. We don't yet know the victim of the fire or what started this fire at the home. It's unclear if anyone else was also inside that home when the fire started, but as we get new information from officials, we will continue to keep you updated. But speaking of fire here really quickly, we know that some arrests have been made in an arson at an auto shop. So this is pretty wild because investigators say they've arrested 2 men, and they're accused of setting fire to a Snellville business on Tuesday afternoon. You can see images from that. According to Gwinnett County Fire investigators, flames were working their way through the roof of that garage behind the main business. You can see it there. Firefighters got to the scene and began to fight part of the fire. The roof collapsed, and it also brought down some power lines in the area. It took under 15 minutes to get the fire under control, so not too long, and everyone was able to get out safely. One person was checked by medics at the scene for possible smoke inhalation, but there were no other injuries. Ultimately, 2 men were taken into custody, but what we don't know is how those 2 men started this fire. Ultimately, they used fire as the incendiary, according to investigators, but there's also no motive that's been released, so we don't know why these men are accused of doing this. We also know that authorities have not released their names, so as we get that information, I'll continue to keep you updated. Another thing that's unclear, Were these two suspects employees of Mavis Tires and Brakes? Did they have any prior connection to the business? So just some stuff that we don't know, but as we get those details, we'll let you know right here within Fox Local. Guys, coming up, if you are wanting to start the new year on a new and fresh note, we're going to take you out to nature, Panola Mountain State Park, to give you a look at how you can enjoy the new year, maybe start it peacefully, and as you get a live look there in Panola Mountain State Park, our Chris Rosenthal is going to explain how we can take advantage coming up. Welcome back, you guys. I am Ariel Onstadt, and it is the beginning of a new year and a fresh start. So if you're looking for ways to find peace in 2026, nature might be a great way to get there. So we're going to take you out live to Panola Mountain State Park with Chris Rosenthal. Chris, I'm jealous you're getting to walk through the woods on New Year's Day. Can we swap? I like the situation you got going.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm getting my exercise in, so hopefully I don't seem too winded here today. This is actually my second hike out here today. They've done two today, two first day hikes, one this morning and then one this afternoon. We're kind of on the home stretch. They're having these hikes all across the state at state parks. Where they're having guided hikes for people to come out on this first day, and people are coming out. We've had about 50 people today come out for this hike. This is the last one of the day, and I got Veronica here. She is one of the interpretive rangers here guiding this hike. And tell me about this park in particular, Panola Mountain State Park. What makes it sort of special and unique?
Yeah, so Panola Mountain is a National Natural Landmark, and it got that designation because we are the best example of what a monadnock ecosystem is in the southeast. And what a monadnock is that is essentially a large, rocky, isolated hill that rises above the surface of the earth, so kind of similar to Stone Mountain. And we have lots of very delicate plants on there, so that's why we limit access to it by doing these guided hikes, is so that way we can continue to protect those plants. Some of them are actually pretty rare to the southeast.
And that's a guided hike. You have to have a guide to go up to the top of Panola Mountain State Park, but there are some self-guided hikes here too as well.
Correct. Yeah, we have two shorter nature trails by the Nature Center. And that are pretty scenic as well. And then we also have a paved trail We have about 7 miles of Path Foundations trail that runs through our park. So you can hike on it, you can also bike as well.
And yeah, some of the cool things we've seen out here. I mean, there's actually some moonshine still left out here, about 100 years old. So some pretty interesting, very wide and diverse landscape in about a 3.5 mile trail here.
Correct.
About
yeah.
About a 3-hour hike. This isn't just for today. You guys do these hikes all throughout the year, huh?
Oh yeah, we do them year round. Typically we do them on the weekends, usually a couple times a month, and typically from 9 until 12.
And people are wondering, is this hard? Do I need to bring anything special shoes, or what's the rundown there?
Yeah, so we rate this hike as being moderately strenuous, which the reason why we rate it as such is just because there's quite a bit of elevation change, also some rocky terrain, especially when we get to the mountain. But as long as you have good hiking shoes, plenty of water, maybe a hiking stick, you'll be good.
And kids can do it too, huh?
Absolutely, kids can do it too. We recommend 10 years old, but as long as you're a good hiker.
Awesome. Well, we're wrapping up this hike now. We're almost back to the visitor center, so I definitely got my steps in today, my exercise for sure. So
you're already starting off well with your exercise goals, Chris. It sounds lovely out there. I love hearing the crunch of leaves under your feet. It's really putting me in your shoes, letting me walk a mile there. So, Chris, thanks so much. I'll let you get back to it. And hey, you guys, maybe get out and hike. There's still some daylight left here in the first day of 2026. Okay, guys, we're going to move on because I have some other local stories I want to let you know about. One of them involves a weapons and drug seizure, and this was a major Metro Atlanta drug bust that happened. 2 people have been arrested. More than $1 million worth of narcotics, firearms, and cash were confiscated across the Metro Atlanta area. The investigation was led by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Northwest Georgia Drug Task Force. Quite a mouthful there, but this task force actually works with the FBI here in Atlanta and Cartersville offices to make sure that they can keep things safe. They executed multiple search warrants throughout Metro Atlanta, and this was a long probe, a months-long probe into a fentanyl distribution network, actually. Authorities say the searches uncovered more than 8 kilograms of suspected fentanyl. So that is quite significant. And it also, they were also able to find smaller amounts of heroin and cocaine with more than 10,000 suspected Schedule I and Schedule II pills, 71 firearms, a live hand grenade, and about $250,000 in cash. Investigators estimate the street value of the seized drugs exceeds $1 million. And in case you're curious, I said about 8.2 kilograms of fentanyl. That's 17 pounds of fentanyl. That is quite significant. Officials said the operation targeted this drug trafficking network supplying fentanyl and other narcotics to multiple counties here in North Georgia. So that is pretty incredible. Think Paulding, Cobb, Douglas, Carroll, and Haralson counties. The investigation's still ongoing. Once complete, the case is going to be turned over to the U.S. Attorney's Office here in the Northern District of Georgia to figure out the next steps for prosecution. But we'll continue to keep you updated here. This is quite significant, as you can see from the photos. Another story I want to let you know about. Can you imagine if you got some money from a gaming machine and then you're robbed shortly after you get it? You're taking a look at some video that was shared with us from the Atlanta Police Department. They've released this video showing a man that investigators say followed someone from a business and then robbed them at gunpoint on Christmas Eve. This armed robbery happened around 9:30 or so on December 24th, so right around Christmas Eve on Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. According to Atlanta police, the victim told officers he'd been held up by an armed man after being followed from a nearby business. Police believe the suspect actually saw the victim winning money while at the gaming machine and then stalked him. You can see the suspect holding a black plastic bag there. Police are hoping people are going to pay close attention to that guy's sneakers, because actually, if you take a look, let me take down this banner so you can get a better look at his sneakers there, because police say these shoes are recognizable by their black uppers and thick white midsoles. So I guess they're a more rare shoe that police say could help identify this guy. It's unclear if police have been able to recover the firearm used in this robbery or if the suspect's linked to similar thefts involving gaming machine winnings here in the area. Police didn't say how much money was stolen in the encounter, but if you get any information from this and you want to call Crime Stoppers, they're offering a reward of up to $5,000 for information that leads to an arrest. So keep that in mind here, that police are looking for this person. Coming up, you guys, we are actually going to speak with our Georgia Chambers about where we are headed in terms of Georgia and Ole Miss playing in New Orleans tonight at the Caesars Superdome. You're taking a live look there at New Orleans. Beautiful cloudless day, but fans have packed the city, no doubt ready for the Sugar Bowl tonight. So we're going to see where Georgia stands, what we're looking ahead to with our strategies in the game, coming up next with Georgia Chambers. Welcome back in. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here on the first day of the new year. Guys, the first day of the new year, you know what it means. The Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss, Georgia Bulldogs going head-to-head tonight around 8 o'clock. We have Georgia Chambers live to explain what's happening, Georgia. I know you're about to go through security, and you're able to just step away for a bit to tell me what's going on, give people an exciting overview. So, Georgia, what are you looking forward to with this game tonight?
Yes, I feel like there's just been so much excitement leading up to today. My team and I have been here since Sunday, so I feel like it's been a long time coming. But you see behind me, everybody's filing, and Miles and Victor and Blaine are somewhere, but they're going through security, getting into the stadium because we have a full day ahead of content to give you all on our newscast. But the team is ready. We talked to them during media days earlier this week, and they just talked about their excitement, but more so they talked about how this is a business trip, and they're ready to play today, later on tonight. And this is a team that they've seen before. Ariel, I know you're a proud Ole Miss fan. I noticed that you said Ole Miss first, okay? Georgia is the third-ranked team, so I'm just going to put that out there. But it's going to be a great matchup. It was a high-scoring game when they first met, so it'll be interesting to see if we get that high-scoring matchup again tonight.
You know, Georgia, at this point, because I am in enemy territory, although I do feel surrounded by friends, I'm just going to say go teams that wear red. You know, if you wear red, you're okay by me. And
I'm being objective, too. I'm just bringing in the new year with some silver. It's shiny, so
we're twinning.
I'm staying objective.
I like it. Yeah. Okay, Georgia, really quickly, where do you see in terms of maybe defensively, offensively, what strategies can the Bulldogs employ to pull out a win? Are there things that you think they're concerned about, things you think they're excited to show off? Give me your take.
a big key in this matchup is going to be affecting Ole Miss's quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss. He's able to use his legs. He's able to throw it down the field. So if he gets going, it's really going to be difficult to stop and halt Ole Miss's momentum. So I think a key earlier is going to be being dominant on defense. And then on the offensive front, it's going to be important to win that line of scrimmage and to get those running backs going. Nate Frazier, he had a big game against Mississippi State. Georgia's had a great ground game since Ole Miss, so I think that's going to be a key too. And Gunnar Stockton is back where he got his first start last year at the Sugar Bowl. Now he has a full season under his belt, so it's going to be important for him to show off that confidence that he's been working on all year long.
Georgia, sounds great. Final question for you. What's your prediction on the score? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I'm going to say I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as a game because I do think Ole Miss's defense also has stepped up since playing Georgia. I'm saying 24-17 dogs.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
You love 17. I notice when you make predictions, they often involve a 17, Georgia. I just have to say that.
I saw a tarot card reader last night. Maybe I got some info.
We're going to have to unpack the New Orleans trip when you come back. Sounds like a lot of fun. Georgia, be safe. And we're looking forward to hearing more about where the Bulldogs are headed and the Sugar Bowl coming up as our live hours progress. So, Georgia, thanks so much. I'll let you get through security and get to gathering some more information. Okay, guys, we're going to move on here because speaking of the new year, one thing that always happens on the new year are little babies born on the first day of the new year. We have some babies that are New Year's Day babies. Some photos coming in here now from Piedmont Hospital. You're taking a look at some of the babies. One, Xenia Sewell, her parents Taisha McKinney and Dante Sewell, born at 12 a.m. on the dot. So absolutely amazing there in Atlanta. And Athens, Antavia Umstead and baby Zachary Namir Hardy was born at 12:41 a.m. So this is just wonderful, a great way to celebrate the new year, seeing all the new faces that are entering the world on the first day of 2026. Babies born to Piedmont Hospital, also in Fayette and Columbus and Athens. We're getting a look at just some of those families. So as we continue here about the new year, one thing a lot of people do, curious if you're doing it, resolutions. Are you a resolutions person? Do you set goals for yourself in the new year? Maybe you're not big on resolutions, but maybe you're taking a look at some ways that you can be better in 2026. Eli Jordan joins us live. Eli, I understand that some people you're speaking to have set some goals for the new year. Maybe it involves avoiding alcohol, maybe working out more. What are you finding out?
Hey, Ariel, and Happy New Year to you. And I am finding out that a lot of people have, experience with New Year's resolutions, but holding them, that's another story because we always put, bigger expectations on ourselves than we can really commit to or really want to commit to, but it's a good idea. But yeah, Dry January is another one. January, and it's popular, and it has picked up some steam. And I'm actually here with Lateef Roberts. Hey, Lateef, how's it going?
Fantastic. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good. So tell me, what do you think about Dry January? Have you ever participated in that?
Honestly, I did it No Amber September, if that counts, right? I was kind of dry for the month of September. From then, I've been kind of on and off with drinking, but how I feel about Dry January, I think it's a great move. I do believe that taking a break from drinking, even for a solid month, could
Are you going to be doing it?
I should, and I probably will after today, honestly. Doing my best.
Are you going to do a Dampuary?
I am going to do a Dampuary.
Well, you call it something else, a Moistuary.
Moistuary. Moistuary is a lot less drinking, but more so like controlled drinking, not getting drunk, no things like that. But no, I think it's really good for not only mental health, but your physical health, just to stop drinking for like a month.
So what about resolutions? Any New Year's resolutions that you have or have done before that you're...
This year, this might be my first year doing New Year's resolutions, because usually I'm just like, all right, I mean, I can make that decision any day.
You know when you might be?
Whenever. But this year, honestly, to be more financially savvy, I need to be a little smarter financially. Outside of that, really continue to put myself out there with not only myself and who I am, but the art that I create. Going to support more people in their artistic endeavors, being available for other people to help them out with whatever they were trying to do artistically. Be a part of more art shows, but also learn how to like level up at my own pace. You know, new camera, working with new people, or like it's like higher wages,
good, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
bring in some more money, being more financially sound.
Yeah, bringing in more money.
You want to win the lottery. Just win the lottery. That's a good resolution.
You know, bring in as much money as I can, Georgia lottery, and spend that wisely.
It sounds like, though, I mean, you know, you're really being mindful about yourself and focusing on, you know, just better yourself and being a little bit more disciplined with some things and being there, being more available for your friends too.
Yeah. But also meeting more people.
Right.
You know, I think
being on
sometimes
TV, possibly.
I could be on TV. I think nowadays, especially after COVID, meeting people has become it's almost become like a job interview.
Yeah,
like
it is.
You know, like, oh, do we like the same politics? Do we like the same music? Do we like the same this? And
well, maybe we can make 2026 something totally different, something different than the norm that we've seen.
Yeah,
you know, had in the past.
Me
well,
personally,
go ahead.
Yeah, me personally, I like having things to kind of disagree about, but it doesn't necessarily take away from the fact that we can still be friends, right?
Right on.
Like, you could like hamburgers, right? I like hamburgers, but I don't like tomatoes. We could have this whole conversation about tomatoes, and it doesn't mean that, oh, I can't go get a burger with you. It's just, all right. You
More agreeable in 2020.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Chief Roberts, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a great year.
You know it. Happy New Year, you too. There you go. Be more agreeable. Get along with people. And then also to be a little bit more mindful, maybe with the checkbook, maybe with being there for your friends. Yeah, it sounds good to me. It sounds like Lateef has a good head on his shoulders about what he wants and about, you know,
Amen,
what 2026 could be like, and so do you have any resolutions, Ariel?
I have to ask you that
Ariel,
question.
what are you thinking about doing this year?
First, real quick, Eli, because we are getting close to time. I just love how he said we can disagree and I still want to be your friend. Challenging our comfort zones in the new year, that is one of my resolutions. Real quick, tell me yours. Well, I just got
Oh, I'm gonna be. I like what Lateef said. Be more mindful with finances, and also I'm gonna try to be less cynical and more positive on the outlook.
I like
it's just easy to be cynical out here, and I've dropped into that a little bit. I've noticed, and it's trying to get out of that habit, and maybe I'll be annoyingly happy from now on.
That'll be interesting. I can't wait to see it, Eli. We are running out of time, but
yeah, I'm sure it'll be very interesting.
I wish you all the best with your goals, Eli, and all of you guys streaming along. If you've got New Year's goals, welcome to 2026. I hope you get what your heart desires. We've got more news and weather headed your way coming up here at 4 o'clock.
Fox 5 News at 4 starts right now.
A Marietta home catches fire overnight after a New Year's Eve celebration, and investigators believe fireworks thrown in a trash can might be to blame. We're live from Cobb County with the latest on the investigation. Plus, the Buddhist monks' peace walk makes another stop in Metro Atlanta. We're tracking their latest movements as they continue their 2,300-mile cross-country journey. And it's a big night for UGA fans as the Dogs get ready to battle for a Sugar Bowl title. We are live from New Orleans with a preview. But let's start with that house fire in Cobb County. A New Year's Eve celebration of fun and fireworks took a turn. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Tyler Fingerton for Christine Spiro. Firefighters believe a family was fast asleep when their neighbor noticed their house burning. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor is on top of this one for us. She's live in Cobb County with what we know.
Well, good afternoon to you, Tyler. Cobb fire officials tell us the problem here is that this family did not dispose of their fireworks properly. They say folks who are celebrating need to immerse those fireworks in water for 24 hours after a celebration. Cobb County firefighters returned to Silverleaf Drive, where a New Year's Eve fireworks celebration ended with an actual fire and significant damage to this Cobb County home. Firefighters say it was a quick response at 5 a.m. New Year's Day by a neighbor that prevented a real tragedy here.
The homeowner stated that they had been lighting off fireworks the night before for of course, the celebration for the new year. And they had bagged up or thrown all the fireworks away in a garbage can, and that garbage can appears to be what caught on fire and started the fire on the exterior of the building.
Neighbors say the homeowners had recently moved in. We saw lots of evidence of spent fireworks on the ground following the New Year's Eve celebration, but no one was home. Cobb firefighters have advice for anyone setting off fireworks, which are made of flammable cardboard tubes and gunpowder.
The NFPA recommends that if you discharge fireworks, before you discard them, you throw them in a bucket of water and let them soak for at least 24 hours before you throw them in a garbage can.
Now, this story does have a good ending, and that is that no one was injured. We are live in Cobb County. Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
Angelique, thank you for the update on that story. In Southwest Atlanta, firefighters had to deal with a morning structure fire. Atlanta firefighters responded to a report of a fire on Childress Drive this morning. Firefighters put the flames out quickly with no injuries reported. Investigators will now try to figure out the cause. In Gwinnett County, 2 men have been arrested accused of setting fire to a Snellville business. This was the scene Tuesday afternoon at Mavis Tires and Brakes on Centerville Rosebud Road. Fire investigators say flames were shooting through the garage roof when crews got there. The roof later partially collapsed. Everyone got out of the building safely, but one needed to be evaluated for smoke inhalation. A violent armed robbery caught on camera in Southwest Atlanta, and Atlanta police now are asking for your help to track down the suspects. This happened on December 21st off of William H. Borders Drive. Police say the victim was approached by 2 black males armed with handguns. One of the suspects is then seen hitting the victim multiple times. Police say the men got away with the victim's phone, wallet, and money. Investigators ask anyone with information about the robbers to call Crime Stoppers. Atlanta police need your help identifying another suspect accused in an armed robbery outside of a business on Christmas Eve. Take a look at this video. The robbery happened at a business on Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. Police believe the suspect targeted a victim who won money from a gaming machine. Police say the suspect followed the victim outside and robbed him of his winnings. Crime Stoppers has offered a $5,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest and an indictment. Atlanta police have arrested and charged the driver who they say drove onto a crowded sidewalk in Little Five Points Sunday morning. Police charged Ataya Green with hit and run and reckless driving. Police say Green did not have a valid driver's license. Patrons scrambled for cover as a vehicle struck a restaurant several times. Bystanders rushed to stop the car, confronting Green and ultimately getting the car under control before police arrived. And time now for a check of the forecast. You're taking a look at the top end perimeter. Sandy Springs, the King and Queen building. What a beautiful start to the new year, 2026. Starting off right, we have warmed up from what we saw just over the last few days. Let's bring in Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Jonathan Stacy, who joins us on this first day of the new year.
Kicking off 2026 with a temperature turnaround. We have been on the downslope to end 2025, but there's an uptick in the numbers, and today is a prime example of that. But let me first get to this. There is trouble on the horizon before the weekend begins and into the start of the weekend. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe storms, mainly across middle and South Georgia as we go throughout the day Saturday. But it looks like the Fox 5 viewing area is in play from Troup County going all the way out to Jasper and Putnam counties. We'll talk about that increasing threat as we inch closer to the weekend in just a moment. But now it's all about the warmth that we're experiencing today. Temperatures below freezing across much of the area to start, but the turnaround is happening before our eyes. The warmest temperature so far of the day is our current temperature at 62 degrees. As you got to Lake Country, you're at 63. The same for LaGrange and Thomaston, 62 in Noonan. Good afternoon to you, Gainesville. You've been in the 50s all day, but you're about to crack 60 degrees. I think it's possible. There's been plenty of sunshine, and the winds are starting